Hello, everybody, and welcome to another conversation on the Musa podcast. I'm so excited because today I have Isaac Aminu with me. Isaac Aminu, we went to the same secondary school. He was my senior like 2 years, and I have so many questions that I have to ask. But like, let's do the intros first. How you doing now? How are you doing, Isaac?
Very well, thank you. I am doing well. Again, the reason why I said guess is because if you're in Nigeria right now, you
It's
are
really
just going
too.
to be living on survival mode for the most part. But we thank God. He comes through steady. So, yeah.
Hmm. I mean, I can't
And how are
comment.
you doing? And
I
how
can't
are you
comment. I'm good though. I'm fine. Just I guess like work here. Like on the opposite aspect, it's actually hot. It actually gets hotter than like Nigeria, like Abuja, even Borno where I'm from. It gets hotter than that, which is like quite
Are you
crazy.
serious? Is that
Yes,
hot
so
over there?
ah, it gets to like 40 degrees, like in Madrid, 40,
Wow.
41. Yeah, I mean climate change is real. It's
In that aspect, I'm happy not to be you because I really like it.
oh.
Yeah,
Let
I'd
me.
rather the cold, man. I can cover up, but you see that heat, I can't deal with it.
How did you survive the Abuja heat? Like, it was it last month or 2 months ago that people were like
Yeah,
saying like,
last month to go. Well, it was bad though, but I grew up in Yola, so that should tell you a lot.
so you suffered
Uh-huh.
even
I,
worse.
I exactly. I had pre-existing heat. I withstood pre-existing heat conditions. So Abuja is just a walk in the park, and I lived in Borno State as well. So it should tell you a
uh,
lot.
okay. Um, this is the very reasons why I actually wanted to have like I was so excited to have this conversation. Because there are a lot of people like especially in your sets that were there. But we'll get to that. The way I like to structure it
Yeah.
is to first of all because the point for me is like to know your story. Like Isaac as a person, Isaac as a human being, Isaac as a person that has passions and desires. So I like to start off like, okay, like you as a child growing up in that environment, then we'll go to like schools, right? Primary schools, then of course Faith Academy, which is like a bulk of conversation. Then after Faith Academy, and then yeah, like your career right now.
Okay, you want to take me down memory lane? That's fine. Let's do it.
Yes, so I had a conversation with Blessing Widow. I think she's the first
Yeah.
person from your set I had a conversation with. She has such an
Okay.
incredible story because you guys I think have the perfect story to narrate when it comes to FA, because you saw you saw the genesis to the
Yeah,
revelation.
that's fair. That's fair. So it's great. It's
Okay,
great to have, man. It's great to hear from you again.
nice. So let's start with baby stories. So where were you born to begin with?
Okay, I was born in Kaduna State. But okay. Let me break it up. The story begins there. I was born in a small room in my grandfather's house. So
Okay,
my mom, from the story I have, my mom stayed at my granddad's house while my dad was working somewhere in the east because he used to travel a lot. His job required him to travel around the east a lot, the
okay,
southeast. So I she was there pregnant with me, ready to deliver, and then one random morning, like early hours of the morning, she go into labor. There was no way to get her to the hospital around those early hours. So we put to bed in the house, literally a room in my grandfather's house with, I think, my grandma and a couple others. These people were already doing it before hospitals came around, as strong as it is. So we helped her put to bed there. So then she gave birth to me at home. And then after everything, it was at daybreak, they now hospital. Yeah.
He's giving Jesus Christ in the manger.
Crazy thing
That's
is,
such
I
a
actually met the doctor. Actually met the doctor who like came because when he came,
yeah.
she hadn't given birth yet, but he
Okay.
helped. them, put me to bed. Help them put her to bed.
Oh, he
So
came
I
to
met
the
him one time.
house.
He came to the house, because he lived close to us. He
Okay,
had a
okay,
private,
okay.
So the time frame, the labor intensity, and all of that. So he just said, okay, let's just do it here. Bring everything I need and whatnot. I mean, that was how it happened.
If you ever write an autobiography, I think this is just this is the perfect place to start from. I was born in a room.
Yeah, ideally, there's no way I can miss out on something like this, man. That's my birth story.
That was very interesting. I think you're the first person I've ever heard from
Yeah.
my own life that was not born in a in a
It
hospital.
was,
Yeah.
I think the house was demolished, the room specifically. How do I explain? It's called, these compounds that have like multiple rooms rather than a big building with so many like rooms. So it's like
Okay.
rooms all laid out in a very like an open compound. Then
Okay.
it's like an L-shaped multiple rooms type thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how his compound was. So he had the compound. So all his kids had like a room. Some were like room and parlor, some were just a room type
Okay.
thing. So it was one of the rooms there that was given birth to. So it was very recently, I think they even put the building down in
Oh
the
wow.
compound.
So your
Yeah.
birthplace does not exist.
It doesn't exist, my guy. It doesn't, not anymore.
Really giving Jesus Christ to do you feel like a messiah?
Oh my God. I've never thought about it like this, but now that it's giving a replication, so yeah, let's not call it that, but yeah, something.
It's fine. Jesus had
I
to
mean,
own up to the fact that he was saving the world. Though. If you feel like
well,
that, let me know in case.
that's a
Let it
massive
not be Noah's Ark
responsibility.
again.
I mean, it was turned to a chicken spot at some point, so maybe. I am not even joking. It was turned to a chicken, like the room specifically was turned to a place for rearing like chickens in the house. So who knows? But that's a
Ah.
massive responsibility, man. I can't compete with that savior, man. Let's just leave it like that.
Sorry, let me give you your lines for the first page of your book. I was born
Sure.
in my grandfather's room, but now
Wow.
it is used to fry chicken. I'll
Oh
read
my
that
God.
book. I'll read that book cover to cover because I want
I
to
mean, it's
understand.
a catchy first line. It's a
It is.
catchy
Oh.
first autobiography.
And your name is Isaac. Pure sacrifice. Like, where are we going?
I beg, more don't think
No, if
even
they
Abraham
really,
was an unsuccessful sacrifice now.
you were what?
I was not a successful sacrifice. I imagine Abraham actually
Oh
killed him
my
for just
god!
completing
Is that
slavery.
see that I was not a successful sacrifice? I've never heard you put that way in my life before. Uh, okay. Anyways, if you need if you are going to write a memoir one day, I can help you like in your storytelling because this is something I would love to read. Like your story. I mean, I'm going to listen to it now, but like, should you write it one day? Okay.
Consult, don't worry. You'll be the first about it now that you're interested.
Thanks. Was Faith also born that way?
No, Faith was born in proper hospital. Conceived, according to my father, in Enugu. Ah, God, I did a lot of traveling growing up.
In
Conceived in
Enugu.
Enugu. Yeah, she was conceived and then it was given birth to in Borno. I think it was when we moved to Borno that our parents even met because I believe our parents became close around
Mm-hmm.
that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, conceived in Enugu, born in. For some reason, I have an Igbo name. She has an Igbo name too because of the whole
You
traveling
have
around
an
the
Igbo
south.
name?
Yeah, but it's not in any of my certificates. It's just
What's the name?
my own is Chidibere.
Chidiberem.
Chidiebere.
Chidiebere. So
Yeah, Chidiebere.
I will just call it Chidi for the rest of
I
the score.
beg you, I beg you. It is not. It is not. It's more of oh, you've lived in the East a long time, and we had a lot of like Igbo friends, obviously, my parents. So I think one of them just gave the name and it stuck around then. And I was a very fat baby too, so
You're a fat baby.
yeah, I was very
What?
fat.
Like, oh my god. Like, there's so many things. So many
I was
things in your
born.
story.
I was born. Was it 3 point something? 3.7
Eh?
kg. Yeah, I was a very fat baby.
Well, you were an unsuccessful sacrifice, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of action points to note now. It's good we're
Ah,
recording this in case we want to write the book.
yes. So, honestly, I think a lot of people actually find this fascinating. Honestly, I did not expect this much coming into this podcast. But okay, wait. You guys are the real national anthem, I suppose. Like you guys are the real Nigerians. The way you guys were moving around, like what was your dad doing? Like, is it business? Is it like appointments? Like, what exactly was he doing?
So he works for a very, I don't want to name names, but he works for a very big
Oil
what do you call this
company.
thing? Dish, not oil.
Okay.
Uh, this thing distribution,
Mm-hmm.
brewery, one of
Oh, okay.
this, yeah, brewery related. So
Okay.
I mean, the East is where alcohol was most consumed, and for some reason he
Okay.
was like a regional
Yeah.
manager level type person, and the
Ah.
Southeast was his zone. So we're talking
Okay.
of places like Aba, Owerri,
Mm-hmm.
Enugu, all of those places. He entered. I think he probably went to all the southeastern states during his time
Wow.
there. So sometimes we are in one spot, and then it's mostly Enugu anyway. Enugu was like that's where I know we actually stayed, and then
Okay.
he's moving around where necessary.
Okay. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So much to unpack. Chidi. I'm not sorry. I'm not going to say it
Wow.
again. I'm not going to say it again. I'm not going to say it
I
again.
don't use that name anywhere. Like I just remember that time. I'm like, oh, you actually have an Igbo name, and then it's exciting. I'm like, oh.
Oh, well, please now, just allow me, just for the sake, because I think for people listening, they will get used to it if the conversation lasts
Oh
like for an
no,
hour.
very good. Like the tribal name I already have as popular is good enough. The Yetti name is already enough branding for me, please.
Well, Yeti is from which tribe?
It's from Fali. It's from Mubi local government in
Mubi in Borno
Mubi.
State. Like
No, in Adamawa State. In Adamawa
Okay,
State.
Adama movies. Okay, we
Yes,
share a
that's my
lot of, so because I'm Margi, and we have a lot
yeah,
of Margi people too that are stationed around Adamawa,
yeah,
Askira Oba, Askira Mubi, Gulag,
yeah,
all these
yes.
places. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Okay. I thought Yeti was like a brand name, as in you invented it for yourself. I didn't really know
No, no.
that.
So it's basically gratitude, Thanksgiving. Like that's the
Mm,
explanation I can. Yeah, that's the closest English translation I can give it. Like Thanksgiving, gratitude. That's what Yeti means. Well, both my tribal names are okay. From my mom's side, my tribal
mm-hmm.
name is Zugwai. Zugwai also means like Thanksgiving, like similar stuff. Zugwai,
Which
yeah, we are
language is
both.
that?
That's that's Badru from Kaduna State, the Badru
So your
tribe.
mom is from Kaduna, your dad is from Mubi,
Adama, yeah, Adama, no,
Adama.
Mobi local government, Adama State, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So Northerners, basically, two of them.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Whew. I want to have fun in this conversation. All right. So you were born in your grandfather's house.
Uh-huh.
Let's proceed. So, what did you grow up in? Africa is a village society. Everybody's an auntie, uncle. You had many people around. What kind of setting was it before you started school?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I till tomorrow I have a lot of aunties, uncles that are definitely not related to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I have a very large, so like the idea of even having a small wedding is I want a small wedding. I want a small wedding, but the idea of a small wedding is going to be almost impossible because of the kind of
Mm,
like people who have made impact in my life over the years. For
mm,
example, although of blessed memory, my should I call him my uncle, my dad's childhood friend. So
okay.
they're very much like us. When I was getting into uni, my very first school fees, we went to visit him, and then he outrightly paid the entire thing.
Oh, wow. That's in
Yeah,
CU,
like
right?
yeah, when I was getting into C 100 level.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he just paid the school fees. Like my dad, my family, my dad, my mom, myself, and my sister went to visit. We're in Abuja, so went to
Yeah.
just like say hi to the family, like basically. And then he had, oh, I'd gotten into school, and he knows I want to be a pilot. But then he was like, oh,
Mm,
get your degree first, and then come back and let's discuss. Then we go into the car. My dad was like, oh, he just showed me a check, and it was literally my school fees to the T, down to the last kobo. it was so good. So like people like this have made so much impact in my life. So it's hard
Mm.
to tell, like to say you want to like cut out certain people. Like how do you say, oh, I'm getting married, but you can't come to my wedding?
Are you wait?
Yeah,
Are you in a relationship presently?
yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
1 year plus.
okay. I will ask you later on, Sha, not now. But like, dear ex, whoever X is as your future wife, you have expo. As to what kind of wedding you will have, should you marry?
No, she knows. Oh,
Marry?
she knows. We
Okay.
argued this thing at first. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
she
like, how
wants
am I
like a quiet wedding.
she wants the most tiny thing ever. I'm like, how am I supposed
Yeah.
to invite this person and not invite this person? Like, I can't just wrap my head
Mm,
around it. Like this particular
mm,
mommy or this particular auntie somewhere, this particular uncle there. I'm like, how
yeah.
am I supposed to break it down? I'm like, okay, let's just elope. Let's be like, if you can afford to come, you come. I mean, I'm not trying to insult, but if it's outside Nigeria, what are the odds people will actually come for the wedding? She's like, no, it has to be Nigeria. Let's save cost. I'm like, but how am I supposed to save cost if I'm doing it in Nigeria? So
God
it's a
help
crazy
you.
thing.
God help you in Abuja.
It's a crazy thing, man.
Okay. Wow. All right. Is she from where is she from in Nigeria?
She's from weirdly from the north as well.
Okay,
Very
from
big coincidence. Yeah, so she's
okay.
from Bauchi State. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
but
really
she
Nigeria
does
now.
she's not giving Nigerian at all. She's not giving Bauchi State at all because she very
Okay.
much grew in the south. Her mom is from south, so
Oh,
she
okay.
she grew up there most of her
Mm.
life and then moved on afterwards. Just a little bit of her life is like it was based in the north.
Okay, okay, I see. Well, I think someone that matches your national movements, I suppose. Okay. You have a very interesting story, oh, Jesus Christ. But okay, so your grandfather, many aunties, many uncles. So any other thing you remember from those periods?
Okay, let me give you this story. So there was this very high sort of robbery around the east. I don't know if you've ever heard of the story before. So there was this time it was like all these buildings that have I don't even know anything about architecture, but ground floor and then first floor. The
Okay.
first floor basically had what they call this thing, like our building it had a balcony. So there was this
Okay.
night, there were like robberies going on around the area. And then my mom heard the gunshots. It was normal, like it got so like people got so used to hearing gunshots, like robberies in the night in the east then. So
Okay.
I don't yeah, so there was this night, my mom had started hearing the gunshots. She carried myself and my sister that was in her arm and entered into the house. And then she told my dad, how far? Let's go inside, like paraphrasing anyway, like let's go inside before these people get to where we are. And what the man, my father is stubborn, not like stubborn in a bad way.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest person you will meet. But what I mean by stubborn is he's not the kind of people that would like to fear anything. Like he
Mm.
believes he can conquer anything that comes in his path. That kind of stubborn.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then she was inside, just sitting down inside, although the balcony was still open because he was outside. And then before you know it, there was a very large gunshot very close to us, and this man crawled into the house to be fair. All she could do was laugh because it's like you were warned, like let's go inside, and he was like, "I know they are not coming here. They are not coming here." But now look at you crawling and like flats crawling into the house. So
Oh my God.
I think
He
that was
lost
when
his composure as tease.
guy, bro, everything left. The steez was non-existent after that.
Oh God, I'm sure your mom will use that to taunt him all his
Yes,
life.
now. Up until recently, she said that story, and I was just laughing. Like it never gets old. When she says it.
Omo, if your wife tells you something, just do it when you're in the face of danger. So avoid
So
stories that touch. Okay. But like, so when did you move from KD to the east?
oh well, I think I don't remember that because I think my mom just went to join my dad over there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I don't really have dates. I was very much a baby.
All
No,
right.
all I cared about was food and play, I guess. So
Okay.
so we then moved to the east. My dad moved around a lot. The only places I know I can remember because I have stories at like 2-3 locations, but it was way more than that in the east.
Mm.
Then afterwards, it was
And this is
2000
Enugu precisely, right?
Enugu precisely.
Okay.
Enugu. I know we were in Aba at some point. We were in Owerri as well, if I'm
Do
not
you speak
mistaken.
Igbo by any chance?
At all, like so.
Okay,
I
cool.
am very poor with languages. To be fair,
Okay.
we'll get to that part. We'll get to that, but I'm very poor with language. Like I'm barely good enough with the Hausa that I grew up listening to. Although my parents spoke English to me, but the fact that I was in Borno, Adamawa,
Yeah.
and then Abuja, I mean Hausa is everywhere here, so I
Mm-hmm.
can speak it, but there are some statements I want to make, and then my brain is like processing and trying its best. Like it's literally going to every nook and cranny to find a particular word and just drop it in English because I gave up. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm not very
That's
strong with.
funny. Sorry, before you go ahead, that's funny, yeah, because like I think one of our first interactions when we were like in Faith Academy, right, was
Yeah,
I was in hostel, and you were like, so you were coming down. I was in just two. That was the first. That was the time when them TBK entered the school. SS, you guys were in SS1. I was in just two.
yeah,
And you're coming down.
SS1. Yeah,
Yeah, you were coming down from the stairs. You know that stairs, all those stairs when you enter by the right, the first stairs by your right.
yeah,
So you're
yeah,
coming
yeah.
down.
Just like you know.
Yeah, so you're coming down, and like I think I was going out. You told me Hausa, and I don't even know what color it was in Hausa in my life. I like Musa, please you have another cut. Like you said in Hausa, I think you said like
Yeah,
chocoli, and I just had to go
yeah.
and ask a proper Hausa person like, what is chocoli? So it's shocking to me that you're telling me now that the Hausa is not strong like that too.
No, how about if you live in a household? Okay, so I had people I would call so I had someone who grew up being like a help but
Okay,
she grew up to become family growing up. So
okay,
this person communicated with my parents in Hausa,
okay.
and then my parents, when they are gossiping and giving their premium gist, maybe we are driving in a car,
Yeah.
it was always in Hausa, like barely, like they will
Mm,
speak English, but mostly like they will switch in this Hausa, this whole, that whole Ingausa thing they call in Hausa, where mixing two languages, basically like Hausa and English together.
yeah.
So they'll be mixing everything together. So you'll be picking one or two, and then that way you begin to learn all of these things. So I had to, chocolaty, obviously, things like that. There is a household equipment. So whether I like it or not, you must know.
Oh. Okay. Like I don't like I understand how I mean no I think even in Hausa we have to be clear that people in Kano
Yeah.
like there are degrees to the Hausa thing in my own opinion.
Oh no, there's levels.
You
There's
cannot
levels.
honestly even in the Abuja just you by the accents by the intonations you know who is a proper like Hausa speakers that they only learned English in school like in their house it was only Hausa that they spoke so mine was we spoke like we're bilingual, so Hausa and English. But for some reason, I did
Yeah.
not know what chocoli was. Like for some weird reason, and I was like, ah. But I learned since that day. I don't forget again. I've never forgotten what
I
that
mean, you did
meant.
not grow up in Nigeria, so you were already speaking Spanish, and you're
I
still
did
speaking
8 years before I left. I did 8 years in Niger
Yeah.
in Borno State before I left, and then came back to Faith Academy. So I have like 8 years of growing up in like in Borno, proper household. And I think that's
Yeah.
why I even know Hausa to begin with.
Well, that's fair. That's fair, actually. That's fair.
All
So
right.
no, go on, go on. I'm hearing.
No, I wanted to continue like from where you stopped, but you wanted to say something.
Oh, okay, okay. No, I remember your sister having like being able to speak Spanish, French, English. I'm like, how do people have the brain to carry all of these things? Like, I think I'm better with numbers. I wasn't the best math student, but now maybe because I deal with a lot of data,
Yeah.
I am better with numbers. Like, if you just pop up numbers, I'm able to like just calculate it in my head somehow within seconds because I have to do it most times on Excel spreadsheets or dealing with database numbers. But I'd rather numbers than languages. Like anything language, I'd rather numbers, man.
No, I think it's a hack here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. So my sister, you refer to Elizabeth, right? I suppose.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I don't. Well, she doesn't speak French fluently. Maybe like basics. Like Spanish, she does. English, she doesn't even speak outside that well. Though. She likes to pretend. But I think for me, what I saw was if you want to teach somebody a language, I think before they are 10 years old, whatever language it is, just put them in an environment whereby people are speaking that particular language. Because even for my own situation, right now, like, I mean, I speak outside, I speak English, I speak Spanish, I speak French, conversational level
I'm taking.
French.
I
And
lived
I'm
in a
learning.
French country for 2 years, and all I do is speak words in any sentence, like conversational level. That's all. Like, if the conversational level, I can't reply you. I literally patch my words, and you're telling me you can speak 4 languages with ease.
No, the French is, but right now, Sha, I'm more interested in German. So I love German so much. So I'm currently in German. But like
Ah,
the key is still like the three of these languages. I learned them like before I was 10 years old. So I won't even say I put in any efforts. I was just lucky enough to be in environments where people spoke this language. I did not go to like classes for Spanish. It was just like friends throwing out like the way a baby learns, like throwing around words, repeating stuff, blah blah blah. And then when I was like I think 12, 11, I realized I could speak Spanish. Before it was just English and Hausa. So I think I don't know for your child if you want them to be to be multilingual. If it's Chinese, just put them inside a Chinese environment. If it's French, German, whatever, just put them inside that environment. I think like they'll just learn. I don't know. The human brain is amazing.
you said Chinese, and I want to lose my mind. Going to Mandarin is learning Mandarin, for example, is one of the. I heard it's one of the toughest languages to learn. Mandarin specifically.
Yeah, yeah. It is. Ah,
For me, oh,
I
no,
don't.
thank you.
No, your child, not you, but probably your child.
Well, yeah, my child. There's hope.
Okay. Well, I don't know you like. Well, I don't know if you like languages now or you just have. I don't know what your position is. But it's interesting. Like I think language is a very interesting subject because it opens you up. Like when I start to speak, so obviously I'm black. And like when I speak to people, like here, especially like when I start to speak to them in English, right? I'm a native English speaker. I mean, they're going back and forth, they're speaking English. Then maybe like we're in a restaurant and everybody's ordering like, in Spanish. I'm not even, I kid you not. This weekend, so I traveled this weekend to Barcelona. I'm currently in Madrid. And I was with my friends. And so the waiter came to us. We're four, right? And I was the only black guy there. All of them, the remaining of them, like, were Spanish. And they spoke to us in English, right? And
Yeah.
of course, all of us there responded in English. Then like when the person was now going, right, then one of my friends now spoke in Spanish, and the person was like, "What the hell, you guys speak Spanish?" And they started laughing. Then the second waiter, a second different waiter, came back again and spoke to us in English. And then when we were like going to go and pay like for the check, and I spoke to her in Spanish, and her eyes was just like, "Eh."
Oh, like, oh my God.
No, it does magic. I can't lie. It does
Blew my
magic.
mind. The language is a beautiful thing, to be honest. It is a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
But this is about you, Isaac. Let's go to you. So yeah, you're in Enugu, and you guys were growing up. So you said Anam, Asaba, and Enugu were the places you were at in the east. When did you start secondary school, and was you also in the east?
Yeah, so my first secondary school was in
Sorry, primary
Yola.
school. Primary school, not
Okay,
secondary.
primary school. Yeah,
Yeah.
primary school. I think I did my nursery school in Maiduguri. Yeah, what's the name of that school again? It used to be a flex because it was one of those big boy schools in
Is it
Maiduguri that year.
Manyangobe?
No, not that
So
one.
I know. Wait, Ruby Model School.
Ruby Model School.
You went
Thank
to
you.
Ruby. Jesus
Yes,
Christ.
now
You went
I
to
was in
Ruby.
Ruby. Yes,
Oh God. I also
I
went
was
to
in Ruby
Ruby.
for nursery school. Aha. So I was in Ruby for nursery school, and
Okay.
then when I left, when we moved out of Borno State, 2000 and was it 3 or 4? So Adamawa
Okay.
State. So it was home basically for my dad, and
Okay.
yeah. So he now then carried us along. Everybody moved, new
Wow.
environment, new everything. I had to now start school. Wait a whole how many months? Then I go into nursery 3. So I did nursery 3 there. I
Okay.
think I don't know if I had to repeat. I don't remember the story clearly, but I know I was home a while before I
Okay.
started school. I moved into Ali Mustafa Academy. It was another. Well, it was it was a really good school then.
But
I
this is
don't
in
know if it's
Adamawa, right?
yeah, in Adamawa State, in
Okay,
Yola.
okay.
Yeah, it was a really good school. I don't really know what state it's in now, but it was one of the top guys around then, private schools around then. My dad did not used to compromise on education. Like even if till tomorrow, I'm going to respect him for that because he gave me the amount of exposure I have now. Like he did not once compromise on our education. Like no matter how like tough it was,
Yeah.
like life was going on at any point, our education was top for him. Like he did not compromise at all. So
Mm.
yeah, I was there from nursery 3, finished primary school, and then just one. Yeah, just one. So originally we had the back and forth conversation that I remember whether to go to a boarding school or so there were options anyway. And then at some point they even spoke about Faith Academy, but my parents were like, Lagos is far. They didn't want to take me all the way to Lagos because then Faith Academy Abuja and Kaduna had not started. So I did
Okay.
my just one in same school, Ali Mustafa, because it was a full from
But was it
kindergarten all the
mixed?
way. It was mixed, yeah, Christian, Muslim,
Okay. Okay.
male, female, everything.
Okay.
It was a day
Okay.
school.
All right.
So yeah, I then did my just one there.
Mm-hmm.
And then toward the end of just one, I heard, Faith Academy is coming. So it was
Okay.
exciting coming to Abuja, Kaduna as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then as intended, my mom was like, we have more family in Kaduna because she's from there. We have more
Yeah.
family in Kaduna, so I should just try the one in Kaduna. And then yeah, we now moved. Well, I moved, and then I resumed boarding school in JS2. And then over there, I was also the first set. So we were literally lab rats. Like our first few days on school grounds, we literally slept in the classrooms because our hostels were not ready yet. So like they kept certain because it was just one and two. So and the class building was really big. So they kept a section of the classrooms for us to stay as our hostel. So you imagine a very large classroom with like 20, 25 boys with beds on the floor, probably less. I can't remember exactly,
Mm-hmm.
but it was crazy. Like the first night was literally a WWE night. I remember so clearly. Like think of all the worst possible play and games boys could play with mattresses stacked up. We did it. So yeah, those were experiences I never want to forget. Um, water wasn't so much a circulation then, so we'd have to go to the hostel buildings where the borehole was active, fetch water. I mean, it was a private school, but it wasn't like ready to
I
go
don't
live
understand.
yet.
You guys walked from
But
KHMS to Faith Academy to fetch water.
no. It was Faith Academy. So the school was not in it was a boarding school. It wasn't inside of Kaduna town.
Wait, I'm confused.
Okay,
Did you
did you
come?
lose me?
Yeah. When did you join Faith Academy Goshen?
I came to Faith Academy Goshen just 2 second term.
Oh, so you're talking about first term because I was
Kaduna, yeah.
lost. Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
FAQ.
I'm guessing that
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah. So that's where we were for the first time. And then
Wait, I'm sorry.
that was
Even in
when
FAK, you were first set.
yeah, I was first set as well.
Okay.
Yeah. They started around the same time, but
Okay.
Abuja was more ready than Kaduna.
Okay.
Yeah. So that first term, like Abuja had way more organization. And then after the first term, my parents now sat down again. I was like, what's up? Then there were no flights from Kaduna directly to Yola. So that became a problem. Having to go on road trips was not ideal. The first
Okay.
trip there was road. So my parents were like, okay. And then where Kaduna was located was a sketchy area. Like where FA Kaduna was located was a sketchy area. I mean, that place is still not the best, but I think security is kind of up now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you maybe listen to the news, you find out that sometime last year there was a school just beside ours where there was a kidnap.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's just beside FA Kaduna, where there was an actual kidnap. Like police and soldiers actually had an exchange of fire with some of the bandits around that side. So it was I think my parents did the right thing by moving me out. I mean, people's children were also there, but I didn't have to experience
some of the fears around that place. So it kind of
okay.
helped. My parents figured, oh, no flights directly. That was primarily their reason, no flights to send me across and back whenever. Yeah. So they decided, okay, let's move to Abuja. And then we had the power of Connect. We basically plugged into people we knew in the Living Faith network, like that had, and then they helped us do necessary documentation, speak to this principal, that principal, and then I did the transfer. And then yeah, that was how it came about.
Okay.
That's how I found myself in Abuja.
So technically, sir, you did not even stay in KHMS. You had your own KHMS version in FAK, but I think as at second term, they already moved to the hostels.
Yeah, second term they moved to the same first term they moved to the hostels.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We were only in the classroom for about a week or two.
Okay. Before they moved to the Papa property.
Yeah, before they moved to the hostel, yes. So they were having some finishing touches. That was why. So they made sure all the rooms we were going to use were good enough. They didn't want to carry us to construction sites with incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. So much to unpack. First of all, let's start off from the fact that, do you know there are a lot of people that actually went to Ruby Model that went to Goshen?
Really?
Yes. Like there's a whole Borno community. So from top of my head, I went there. Egypt Yerima went there.
Egypt was there as well.
Yes, Egypt went. Egypt even finished from Ruby Model. Me, I left in primary 3. He finished he went from Ruby Model to Faith Academy. My junior sister, but I think she did nursery, like Elizabeth. Isaac Junior, Isaac Philip Usman, he was a set below me. JP, I don't know if you remember him. He also went there. Egypt's sister too went there.
JP, the military dad, JP.
Yes, the Red House military dad, JP. He went. Yeah, he also went to Ruby Model and went through there to Faith Academy. I don't know if Prezwanka I know was even the one that actually opened my mind to the fact that a lot of you guys in first actually had experience in Bruno, because there was a time in laundry.
Waka was also based in Maiduguri.
Yeah, he was based in Maiduguri. I'm telling you,
I knew this and forgot. Wow.
Do you know the funny thing there?
That's crazy.
So one day, again, Wanka came in first set SS1 now, right? Yeah, I think he came in SS1. So yeah, he came in SS1 because he was now assistant house captain or something. So we're in the laundry one time now with them Chibike, me just too. I'm just trying to mind my business and not get into trouble at that point. I think it was first week or second week. It was just the period before they announced the
Greenhouse Boys.
No, Greenhouse Boys. I enjoyed it. That day, I think, marked the difference for me in Faith Academy, because it was one night I was watching close to Prezwanka in that green. So when Mr. Evans, when you guys were in SS1, that Mr. Greenhouse now upstairs, our own laundry. We're there and we were washing, and it was night. And so Prezwanka just started randomly asking me questions. Oh, what's your name? I said Musa Obed. Were you in Borno State? I just turned my face first. I was yes. He now told me if the moment he asked me this question, I knew that okay, yeah, this guy really knows a lot. Because I lost my mom in 2006 in Borno State due to an accident. And so he told me specifically, did you lose your mom to an accident when you were in Borno? I was like, why are you this guy?
Hey bro, what's going on here?
Oh my god. That's why he now started telling me that he stayed in Borno. Is I think our family was close at that point.
Our families were close knitted. We're all Living Faith Church.
Yes, and Bishop Abioye was in that.
I remember.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I said I remember. Do you remember a time Pastor Casey was in Maiduguri as well?
Yes, Pastor Pastor Casey, his daughters.
All our families were close knitted.
His daughters came
to Esther and David.
Esther and David,
children.
yeah. So they did their, I think it was Esther. She was doing an NYSC. She came to our house. She stayed in our house, practically like doing her NYSC. The 1 year whereby
Yeah.
I was like in a company, and you know Bishop Abie was there, which I think actually made a lot of Maiduguri people naturally migrate to Goshen because Bishop Abie was the
Yeah.
pastor in Maiduguri,
In
like
Goshen
in the
at some
Maiduguri.
point.
Yeah. No, but like before in Maiduguri in Borno State, he was him Momi Abie. They were literally the ones leading the church. I know this because my mom was, so she was one of the first 7 members of the church, because before they even got a building, before they got anything, Mom C was like Bishop Abie wanted to start a church in Borno State, and so they started like with little fellowships, but she was not even interested at that point. But then the church started growing, so she became a deacon. So of course now she was like founding member, that kind of thing, in Living Faith Church in Borno. So like if so my dad, like my family and Bishop's family are very close because of that. Bishop Abiri, and of course, like when she died, like it was, I can remember that day, like literally the amount of people, because we are 6 children and I'm the 5th. Our
Yeah.
firstborn is like 12 years older than me. So like we're well known within the church. So when Mom C died, like
Yeah.
indirectly I knew, everybody else knew before us. And they literally had to take us in the church
Yeah.
that Sunday and whatever. So I was not shocked when Praise Wanka was telling me all these things, because I, okay, yeah, I like she was that kind of personality. But since that day, anyways, glory days, since that day, because you enter Praise Wanka friendship, yeah, also, and also luckily for that time, I was also like Chibike's friend somehow, because Chibike, and if you're Chibike's friend, you're close to Jotam, and just like that, you're connected to the greenhouse circle.
Jotam, oh my God, Jotam, you just reminded me. I should actually try to reconnect.
I know people complain about Jotam, but me, I don't have any problems.
Jotam was a terrorist. Jotam was a terrorist. Everybody, teachers had a problem with Jotam. Is this kind of guys who they will tell you unfiltered.
No, but I mean, I did not have. I was Chibike's, like I was very tight with Chibike, and because they were best friends practically. So like we're very close. And all those punish, I never tasted it. So I'm lucky in that sense. But anyways, it's just 2. Let's go to your just 2.
Okay. Just 2 after FA Kaduna was when I now moved to Faith Academy. That's FE Goshen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a roller coaster of change. It was one of the worst. Well, not worst. I've had to move around a lot, so it's kind of. But I don't know why I've never been able to get used to the change, like the environment, the change of environment that comes with things like that. So moving over, it was a hassle because I had to deal with what do you call it? I had to deal with new environment. So when I was in FA Kaduna, I was literally the very first prefect appointed, and it was based on, I was the timekeeper. There was a Mr. David then. He literally just saw me, and then so it's like the whole, that whole thing about that leadership aura.
Yeah.
I feel like that's followed me. It has followed me everywhere. Just the same way it followed me in Goshen.
Yeah.
We'll get to all of these stories, but he had always followed me, and then for some reason, he made me the timekeeper, and then the principal himself on a Sunday, random Sunday, was when he now made me like the chapel coordinator. Then there was there were no prefects then, so they made me like chapel coordinator. So I had to like organize service, like order a program every service type thing, communicate with students and stuff like that. Then few days later, we got a patron in the hostel who had never even attended our service or anything before, and then he now made me prayer coordinator in the hostel for night devotion. I'm like, this thing, they follow me, go everywhere. So it just kept going and on and on and on. There were no prefects, there were no other people with responsibilities like that. But I had like 3 things I was doing at the same time. And then over time, more people started like getting like little other responsibilities. But I was timekeeper. And I flopped out so bad because I'll be listening, get to ring the bell. So it was like that. And then I moved to FA.
Well, so wait, before you go to FA Goshen, like, was an overload? Because these are like 3 responsibilities. Like, as you're progressing, you're just adding responsibility on your head. How exactly did they expect you to manage all of that?
So all of these three individuals did not exactly know what they were like. They were not in sync as to my responsibilities.
Okay.
His principal high up there, Pastor Ogidingbe, then I think that's his name, Pastor Ogidingbe, principal,
Okay.
patron, like hostel master, and then Mr. David, I think he was our maths teacher.
Okay.
So these three people are just individuals in their different sects. So he was maths teacher as well as like one of the founding teachers. So he had the he could give that kind of power, which is timekeeper responsibility.
That's a lot of stamp of approval. Oh. Like literally, three people had verified you.
Kind of.
Three-factor authentication.
Kind of, yeah. So it was crazy that time. But then I was able to do everything well. I remember the first time I had to do like there's this Saturday FFF type thing. FFF.
Is it like
Well, it
fellowship,
wasn't called
Winners
FFF.
Fellowship?
Just I remember. I think it was a CU. It was called FFF. If I'm not mistaken. But
Is
this
it
prayer
Winners
thing.
Fellowship, home cell?
No. This was like prayer thing that happens on Saturday. Like a fellowship thing that happens on Saturday for students.
What was it called in Faith Academy Goshen? There's a name.
Yeah, there was a name for it. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. I can't really remember. So
no, I know what you're talking about. I know, yeah.
Yeah, the first time I got that responsibility, having strong house background, scripture was like normal. It was already in my body, like in my blood normally. So I now organized the first sermon. I wasn't the first person to teach then. I think somebody had taught prior than me. It was not after what I had done that he now made me the hostel prayer coordinator. So I taught, and then I put scriptures in front of my points, all of those things. It was just me being a child that just kind of knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then it was around that time I started writing scriptures. Like whenever I wanted to remember, I had a book where I'd write scriptures. Like maybe I write let's say, for example, John 3:16 is for God so loved the world. I write the first line, then write the scripture in front of it so that I have a reference to pull from.
Okay.
Like when I'm thinking of it. So I wrote a ton of it prior to that. Right,
so you're spitting like Bishop Oyedepo.
So I had already grown up listening to these people, and it was kind of already inside of me. And that was how I got that thing then. After that first teaching was when he was not like happy and excited, and he just gave me something he used to do prior. He now just gave me the responsibility of doing.
Okay. Wow.
So,
okay.
yeah.
No, but it's still like for me, it's still like, I mean, obviously, like it was clear in Faith Academy Kaduna too that you had the leadership. But the fact that three separate human beings are looking for who to give responsibility to, and on 3 occasions, like it's you. Well, probably by the time, if you had stayed in Faith Academy Kaduna, God knows, probably you'll have ended a head boy or something.
No, God, I beg. Anyway, I left, and then I think FE Goshen was where I stepped back a lot. In my first term, that's 200 level second semester, second term, I was just a normal guy. You
just hit 200 level for just two.
Hey, God, I beg, just to second term. Yeah. So I was the normal guy. It was so hard to adjust because I left an environment that was not as organized to an environment with so much organization. Like everything was up to par, like prefects were there, everything was set.
Okay.
And then I was not like a dead guy around that time. Like
but what does that mean? Like what does that mean practically?
An unfresh guy. Because I came in 200. Why do I keep saying 200 level? So just 2 second term was when we also like other students also joined in. So I was one of the guys who came in. I was the only person who came in from Faith Kaduna. So when I say unfresh, I mean like I was not among the cool kids because there were people that came into school and then they automatically just became like the cool guys.
Yeah.
You understand? So it kind of messed with me for a bit. I even had to deal with a little bit of like low self-esteem for a while because I fought with one of the cool kids and all the cool kids had a beef with me. I'm not going to name names, but before the end of that year, everything became good again. So I had a serious argument.
Can you at least disclose the house? Don't name the names.
Just it was house. Yellow House. It was
Yellow House. Is your house?
I'm not giving you names. I'm not giving you names over this call. I'm not calling anybody else.
No problem. That's fine.
Anyway, so we had like an argument in class, and then I refused to like mellow. Do you understand? Like I refused
Yeah.
to back down, and then automatically everybody else who were like cool kids around them did not vibe with me, and that was
Okay.
I dealt with a lot of low self-esteem. Imagine coming from where I was to a to being a like really dead guy here. I mean, it's not like I was a dirty boy. Obviously,
Yeah.
I was not that. But most
Yeah.
unfresh people were dirty people in FA.
Okay.
That was like the standard. But I was not
Yeah.
in that group. Yeah, I was just not everybody's friend.
Uh
Yeah, I was just not
that's
the
actually
cool.
very shocking.
Yeah. No, that was just to second term. I was not among
Okay.
the cool. Yeah. Then, but at the end of that year, I had I think it was just two third term that I now became the first. That I got my first prefect.
Okay.
Yellow House captain. I think the Yellow House captains were there were some problems going on. Yellow House was dirty, like so they now decided to swap out everybody. And then one random day, they now called out new prefects, and then I was the assistant Yellow House captain. Then I think the head was Lecky.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know that
Lecky
was
was
the name that came to my head?
yeah. So that was just so he was head and I was assistant. And
Okay.
then yeah, I think was it Lecky? I think it was Lecky. If I'm not mistaken. I can't remember clearly who it was, but I think it was Lecky. Then
Okay.
by just three, they were appointing prefects again because that was something they kept doing until we graduated. Like this, they kept
Yeah.
reshuffling. And then by just three, they were not like, this chap prefect guy, the one who was there before. Everybody always stabbed him and stuff. Omai, that was my guy too then.
Okay.
And then he
Yeah.
was in Red House. And then when we go into just three, they now reappointed prefect again because some of us had come at just two second
Yeah.
term. So they now saw through everybody and then they appointed prefects afresh. And then that was when I became chapel prefect. That was just three.
Okay.
That was when I
And
got
you
the first chapel prefect responsibility. I
I
don't
followed you
remember
now.
how it came about. So he followed me basically. He basically followed me from FA Kaduna. Very shocking. Not very shocking, but like shocking.
Yeah, but I mean, it
So
didn't
yeah,
follow because in SS1 you were also child prefect, SS2 you're child prefect,
yeah,
SS3.
they kept making
Okay.
chapel
Okay.
prefect till I graduated. It was in
Okay.
SS2, SS1 going to SS2. SS2 was the final year of us being prefects. Do you remember in
Yeah.
FA before you get to SS3, you hand over to
Was
focus
it
on?
SS2 or SS? You guys were SS3, I think. No, because Baja sets.
We were going into it was when we entered SS3 before the exam semester and term.
Okay.
Then we hand over. So in
Yeah.
SS2, I think
Mm-hmm.
there were rumors they had written out the prefectship list, and then we had they had written out the prefectship list. I went like it kind of snuck out of wherever I did, and then my name was now up there for head boy. It actually snuck boy. Like then everybody was not like, Isaac, I mean, you're going to be head boy. And then I eventually saw the list. The list was I think Mr. Tosin now. He had the list of
Yeah.
there were people who selected. So I saw the list and my name was there as head boy actually. So it was crazy. And then I wanted to lose my mind. I was not like chapel prefect is already a responsibility I was dealing with every day, but
Yeah.
like because it was a Christian school, obviously my responsibility was active every day because we had those assemblies,
Yeah.
and assemblies were basically devotion,
Mm-hmm.
school level devotion, exactly. So my responsibilities were every single day,
Mm-hmm.
apart from weekends. Well, Sundays I still had church because we used to go to church. So
Yeah.
responsibilities were every day. Saturday we still had that prayer thing now. We basically had something to do chapel wise every day now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I now saw my name at head boy and I wanted to lose my mind. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. So one day I now summed up the what's the word to use now? The courage to go to Mr. Toast and say, okay, sir, I saw people have been saying this and I do not think I want to take on the head boy responsibility because head boy was work. Like it was work. Like really severe work.
Head boy was
The
that
leadership
shit.
thing was
Jesus
there,
Christ.
but I did not want to take on that kind of responsibility.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of you like, so I think especially in your sets, we had so seen like President Dajila as head boy, that like I think any other thing you really had like you had such a stack, especially from the first sets, you had such a stack like person that they'll compare you to at each point in time because Itachi was a very present, very
He was a
Like
very present head boy. Like
very present. Like I
there was
don't know. That's the
actually
only
there
way
was
to put it.
Chibike. So they were like, I think they were like two names. Okay, no, my name was just there. I think Chibike was
Okay.
also being considered. He was being considered then for assistant, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't remember,
Okay.
a lot of these things are still hazy, but all I remember clearly was the fact that my name was up there as head. Like the list, the paper handwritten list was Isaac Aminu, head boy, then Amarachi, head girl. If you remember clearly, Amarachi and I were chapel prefects together. Then after that term that they moved us up, so after I told Mr. Tosin that I did not want to do the head boy responsibility, Amarachi
Yeah.
became head girl. Idajili remained head boy.
Ah, that's
A lot of these
interesting.
things people don't know about, but now that we're having the conversation, so a lot of these things. So Amarachi became head girl that period. She left me as chapel. She became the
That
head girl, and then it actually
that's
remained
true.
head boy. Yeah,
Like, almost
that was what
the
happened.
trajectory of I think Faith Academy would have actually been very different if you were head boy, because I think that you guys just have two different leadership styles. Like I mean, Presidaji is the very loud, like his voice is so loud and so like
Yeah, he had this
authoritative,
command, he had this authority by default.
like major
And funny
general
enough, if you know him,
position.
yeah, if you know him in person, he was one of the sweetest guys, like normally. But when the moment he came into like authority, he was this very revered person, like President is coming, that is senior president is coming, senior president is coming. Like he had this authority figure. And then I was very much a not a I won't call myself a soft guy. Like I knew how to manage people without being firm or being stiff about it. I
Mhm.
think that's just a bit to
I
explain
think
it.
you use soft power. That's what I would just say. Like you use soft power more than hard power. I mean, it gets the job done at the end of the day. But like I'll just say President was more hard power. In sense of like no do am first now. He tells you
No
to kneel
doubt,
down.
first coming.
Don't kneel down now. You'll find out. I think like probably for you, at least from even how you handle things in chapel, right? Like you like to have conversations or try and like understand first, like why is somebody a fool before concluding that he needs beating? Like why are you acting so foolishly? I remember like plenty instances now like that. That even people, I mean, obviously people take advantage of this, right? Whereby some people like, oh, if they are running, and then people like, guy, who's there? And it's like, oh, it's Senior Isaac, and they were like, oh, okay, and like they're catching their breaths because they know that the punishment is not going to be as severe as opposed to, for example, like if a President actually was there. I mean that was good and bad depending on how you view it.
Yeah,
But I just think yeah,
yeah.
it's just more soft power, like influence. Like the person that I would say you influence so well, this guy, well, Imim. I think like Imim made so much reference to you, like you Nesochi, but like mostly to you. I can remember like, Imim just like always talking about you. And Imim became what's it called? Chapel Prefect too in his own set.
Yeah, he did. We're still very much in touch now. He's here in Abuja. Literally saw him on Sunday, so we're in church together a lot. So I like
Okay.
thinking about how much he actually looked up to me. Like it was such a big deal.
No, I remember I was a senior, but I was like, guy, can you calm down? Like, can you actually calm down? Nah, I mean, is a very interesting person. Like his growth is so interesting. Like because we have seen it since Faith Academy up till now. Like his growth is just
Yeah.
something to write about, honestly. Okay, you took us very far. Oh. Honestly, you even took us to SS3 like very rapidly. But I want to unpack certain things first. First thing is that
Yeah.
would you have preferred to be a junior as opposed to being a lab rat?
Let me see. I feel like maybe now that I'm running away from responsibilities, like I'm very much like it's not like I don't do things well, but I mean my current job requires me to be a leader of
Yeah.
some sort, a leader without authority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I feel like the fact that I had to stand out a lot growing up kind
Mm-hmm.
of taught me how to manage people, and it's something I'm very excited to do.
Okay.
It's followed me everywhere, but I feel like all of these processes, like everything I had gone through prior to now, was
Mm.
leading me up to somewhere. Yeah, I
Okay.
still believe in my soft kind of leadership, but I would rather have the conversation with you before you hear me get angry or get pissed at someone for not doing it. You must have really messed up. So all of that kind of led me to where I am right now, and it's healthy. I see it as just a learning curve. So I don't think I wanted to be a junior in FA. Even the cutest juniors at some points. It's not like the seniors were mean, but everybody was an Ajebo. Almost everybody was an Ajebo. Imagine just because you're a junior, you just say, oh, hey, you help me fetch water, and then maybe they're counting 1 to 10 for people to go out, and then an SS3 student will not get punished. An SS3 student that will not get punished for going late to the assembly is now taking you to go and fetch water for him.
Oh, Isaac, you know.
No, I would have taken the senior rank. Like, I agreed to be the lab rat, man.
No, I think like also like for your sets, I always say there was no set like your sets. First of all, because I think you guys started with like the school, and like I think the school just gave you guys that respect in the sense of you're like their first child, you know, you're their literal babies, and the firstborn. Principal Uncle always used to say the firstborn, all those kind of things. But I think like, you know, in terms of like character, in terms of like setting the pace, many things like you guys actually did that. And even would I say in aura and like and how you guys carried yourselves, it was just different compared to every other set. And I think the fact that every other set had you guys at first set reference, right? There was always this kind of like comparison that existed, right? I can remember in our sets, when they gave us prefectship, there was a particular instance whereby like juniors they messed up so bad. I can remember, and I don't know what happened. So me, I was not a prefect. I was not a prefect like in Faith Academy. I don't know what happened. That at the end of the day, so prefects in my set, they wanted to feast on juniors. Like the juniors messed up. Me, I knew the juniors messed up. They wanted to feast on juniors.
Yeah.
And guess who intervened? Mr. Evans. Like I was so mad. I was so angry because during our time, Mr. Evans leads the bandwagon of punishments. But now that there's no first sets, and the excuse they will tell you is that, oh, we're trying to correct the errors from the first set. I'm like, sir, don't correct it after us, sir, not now. It's like we're trying to.
Speaking of Mr. Evans, I think there's so many memories with that man, man. So many memories. I remember when he came to FA and we'd literally get whooped for getting anything less than, like, there was a way he used to do it. I think there was one time he was like, okay, this test is over 15. If you get 14 over 15, so 1 times 4 is the number of strokes you get.
Mm-hmm.
F13, so it's 2 times 4 is the number of strokes you get. I can never forget that day. I think I had a 14 or was it 13? So I got probably 8 strokes. He was our computer. He came in as computer science teacher then, and it was crazy because everybody was an excellent student, bro. Everybody became an A student in computer. It was so crazy, and then he followed up being what do you call it? The housemaster. Then that was like entire hostel guy. So there was this time he noticed his random inspections of the hostel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was me and Chibike had our room to ourselves. It was just me and Chibike. We were like the 2 cool kids then. Everybody else had like 4 upwards in their room. And then Chibike had the room to ourselves. So our room was always clean. So this day he did this surprise inspection and then he was flogging the entire hostel, literally. And then you just come up, lay on the table he had set in front. It was like literally the table set before you. So you lay on it and then you collect your strokes and move on. Your room was dirty. So I had now, Chibike was the one still sleeping. So me, I was outside. Chibike didn't know what was going on at the, like, around. So immediately I climbed. He was like, get down, your room was clean. Like the rule was for nothing to be on your floor. Like anything you want to have should be inside the wardrobes or on top of the and then he was like, your room was clean, no need. And it was a very sigh, like this huge sigh of relief that I wasn't going to get whooped. Everybody else in the hostel was getting whooped except they were sick.
Wait, was it in new hostel or was it in old hostel?
It was new hostel.
Oh, okay.
New hostel, like
Um,
cleanliness in your hostel. I think it was only seniors that were there, like my set upwards.
yeah, your
SS1,
set and Baja sets. You know they kind
I just
I I actually feel so sorry for Baja sets because
yeah.
automatically they became just once again.
They became because they took us away from the just one just twos because they were worried about like the whole altercation of bullying and
Yeah.
whatnot. So they now kept the two seniors in one set and then the two juniors. So the two imagine just twos in the other hostel feasting on just ones.
We were
And
the
then
just
the
twos in
just
the
twos,
we were the just twos in the other, so we were the seniors of our hostel,
you
which
were
for us
yeah, you
was
were the
like,
senior.
oh my god, this
So
freedom.
much power.
Do you understand? And we had house captains in junior school, so we were actually like responsible for a lot of things. We had box room key.
Yeah.
No, it was abuse. I can't lie.
You had box room key. Bust my
We had
head.
box room key.
You had box room key.
We had box room key. Nuelo Mesa to this day, I remember, and Greenhouse had our box room key.
Mad dude. Crazy stuff. Memories.
Okay. No. Okay, I thought it was even in new stuff because I think sorry, all those stuff because when you guys were in SS1 now. Okay. Oh no. There was a point whereby they mixed us, whereby
Yeah, they mixed us houses.
like it was half or something like that. Like half of your
Yeah,
house
they
is
did
in
it
new
based
stuff.
on houses. Yeah, 2 houses in new hostel, 2 houses in old hostel. That was in probably SS, one of the terms in probably SS2. They mixed
Yeah.
everything back up. They complained about you guys being bullies now, so they had to mix everything back up to balance.
Yeah. There was a particular day your set came because we're in just 3. And that was when like probably when I would say I was pissed because there was a particular day now. So I was the greenhouse house captain when I was in just 3, and then so the juniors. So to be fair to the juniors, too much. It was a bit too much because like some people would. I mean, in every set, there are just some people that are just too extreme and they just overdo certain things. Like they do not understand control and they do not understand like how to stop. So of course, like certain characters were just doing certain actions. And Mr. Evans had had enough of it. And there was a particular night whereby your set boys came to our hostel. We're confused now, and so as you guys were entering, I don't know if you were there that night, but I can remember clearly Jotam, I can remember Chibiki. So they entered now, and I knew, I knew we were done when they said, "Just 3 boys, wait, come to the culture and wait." Jesus Christ! Then they now told us enter the box room. So the problem apparently was the whole box room issue that like juniors were saying that it was not even the bullying or anything. It wasn't that. It was that juniors were saying they were taking their provisions, blah blah blah. That was how they organized punishment for us. Like 3 days, Isaac. 3 days your sets punished us. That night, after that night, the next day we went to Mr. Evans. We told him, Mr. E, how far now? Like this first set guy just came to our house and started beating us, and we don't even understand what's up. Mr. Evans was like, are you serious? Don't worry, I'll go and talk to them. Next day, who is leading them? Mr. Evans. And he has his hands crossed on Jotam's shoulder on the one hand, and then Presidaji's shoulder on the other. And he's entering and smiling and looking at us. I've never felt so betrayed in Faith Academy. That moment, I just knew all hope was lost.
I think I remember this incident. It was crazy. I think I remember. Oh God.
All hope was lost, man. I mean, like me, I not suffer like that. Like Prezwanka like freed me at a point. That second day, that first night, everybody did not understand what was going on. Only like your set understood what they were doing. Us were actually floating. Like, why are you actually punishing us? Then the next day, they now did general punishment again. Then Prezwanka like freed me. But like my set was literally crawling. The entire afternoon prep were being punished. Then the next day again, it started for 3 days. I was like, Jesus Christ. So when I'm saying that Mr. Evans, when we're now prefects, when it's now a turn, Mr. Evans now saying, no, we're trying to correct errors. I'm like, which errors, sir?
So we had so much power.
Too much,
so
too much.
I remember when your set came in and then you guys were like fresh meats after being seniors over one set. So you guys are like fresh meats. I remember so much. It was not like fresh set of juniors to run errands for you, like those kind of things now. Although I was still the chief senior, so that was the time when they made it one SS3, like two just one, just three, two just twos, like they spread us evenly in a room.
Okay, yeah.
You remember that when you guys first came in? So there was like
So
an even
I came
spread.
in just two, sha. But like my
Yeah,
sets
that's
when okay, that means when you guys were in SS1.
no, when we were in just three,
Okay,
you
yeah,
had
my
not come
set
yet.
guys. Yeah, but my set guy was in just one. Yeah.
Yeah, your set guys had come in. So it was an even spread around that time. And then there was this guy in my room who like they were that first visiting day, it was literally a spree of bully reports. It was like everybody had a case to settle. And then I had this junior in my room. I'm trying to remember his name again. I don't know if I think he left after just one. So
Is it
this
my
guy,
set?
yeah, your sets. You might not remember, you might not know him, but did you know any?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, so he was junior in my sense. He used to wet the bed. He was so clumsy. He was dirty. Like everything negative you could think of. So
Mm.
I had reached its point, and then there was this day. This guy slept off in class during prep and did not come back to the hostel till like around 1 or 2 a.m.
Ah,
This is somebody that was supposed to be my responsibility.
so
The
the
next
blame
morning, I
comes
was
on
so mad.
you.
I'm like, how do you sleep off and not know anything going on during prep? I'm like, how? Like, I understand you can be tired from the day, but people, you sleep up to like 2 a.m. First of all, the housemasters or something, first of all, came to blame me that how is somebody out of the hostel till this time? You do not know as a senior in the room. I was not
Ah.
like, I can't remember, I think it was Mr. Landrum or somebody was asking me. I was not like, God, I beg. It was not that morning for the first time. I think it was that morning for the first time that I flogged him because he already had a pile of things that were pissing me off. He was dirty in the room. His locker was a mess. He was generally a mess that period. So that particular morning, the next morning, and now next morning, I think it was even a Saturday next, if I'm not mistaken, Saturday next morning. But I think it was a long morning because I punished him that day and I flogged him for the very first time. Omo, so my case entered his parents. I'm not like, okay. That was the only person that reported me. At least I was better than some seniors that had like 10 people reporting them.
Yeah.
I'm not. Some people had like 10 juniors report them. Like
No, there was a
people were
particular
literally.
yellow house guy in your set. Ouch. But
No,
let's
I
continue.
don't worry. I know where you're going to. Let's go. We'll go into that. So I punished him that day, and then his parents came, and then I was so helpless. I was like, this is somebody I was treating like my. Like I was trying to groom him properly. Like, okay, when you wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, take your like, do all these basic things. This guy will go like 2-3 days without having his bath. I
Ah.
don't even know why I could feel bad for calling his name now. Please, if you can censor that part out. So you go like 2-3 days without having his bath. He will not clean his wardrobe, he will not clean his bed,
Mm-hmm.
and all of these things were things that I had to do every morning. And if it wasn't done, I will be held responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So stuff like that. As the dorm captain now, normally as the dorm captain, you had to be
Yeah.
responsible for all this.
Yeah.
Sometimes everybody you go out with a dirty body. I'm not be the one to lay his bed that I had peed on. My room will not be smelling like pee. Is it that I'm taking the bed out or I'm laying the bed?
I can
I
feel
was
your
so,
anger and frustration. Like
oh my god, it was so annoying. It was so annoying. So that day was the first time I beat him, and then he went to report me. I was not like, okay, my crime has caught up with me. So and then that thing has always been a thing for me. So for some reason I believe I'm not like everybody. Let me explain what I mean. There are certain things people do and they get away with it. If I mistakenly do it, I will get caught. It is not a cause. It's not a. I will get caught.
mm-hmm.
I will definitely get caught. It is so weird. Like if I mistakenly do something that everybody does and gets away with, most likely I will get caught. Since I noticed the feel of that thing, I decided to entirely anything I know can get me in trouble. I'd rather not. I would rather not generally.
Yeah, part of those people.
So I'm part of that, like the Holy Spirit will clearly scold when they do something wrong. You make sure I feel the scolding to never try it again. So let me
Holy
just
Spirit, they use you
let
as
me just
lesson points,
bro.
bullet points.
There are certain things, Sha. I'm learning. I'm learning every day.
But like, I mean, what did the parents do? What did the school do? Did it like?
Oh, well,
What did it?
the parents just met me. The parents met me that day, and I think they were funny enough. I had explained what was going on. They were like, "Oh, you have to treat him like a younger brother. You have to what." But then they reported the case to like someone a little higher, not so far up. But then this person was like, "Oh, Isaac would never do such a thing just out of the blue."
Okay.
Yeah, so he kind of had my back, and then he obviously scolded me for even disciplining the guy. So it was a good experience, to be fair. It was a lot of tension because I was like, oh, what if I also get called to the disciplinary committee? So my name did not get to the disciplinary committee because it was a
Okay.
one-time thing. Nobody else complained about me. Even all the other juniors in the room actually had my back, which was, and I had like how many juniors? I had like three other juniors in his sets. So everybody else had my back for him, the reporter. So they all came to say what was going on and how everything was happening. So it kind of exempted me a little from all of the stress.
I mean, like, so, one thing is that when you, like, a lot of things, you remember that period that, like, I mean, I'm not trying to belittle the situation, but like
Yeah.
this year, last year, boarding school, like people, all these things that were training in boarding school, like they slapped this one or they beat her, and like it's becoming national story. Like every time I watch that scene, I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, if they just came to Faith Academy between 2000 and X to X, like we'll trend, though. We'll actually trend.
Like stories good day, Akpa.
Oh my God,
Every day headline news.
they will shut down Living Faith network of schools here. ASAP. Because I know that Canaan Land was actually worse than us. Because Canaan Land was an established secondary school. Established. I knew like guys that went to Canaan Land. And the story they even tell me, I'm like, thank God, though. Thank God this is even the what I experienced at the end of the day. But like back to the point, like what you did. I mean, honestly,
You were a good boy now. You never suffered now. You never suffered the extra now. Who stressed you? Nobody stressed you now. Weren't you a cool kid?
No, yeah, I honestly did not suffer. I mean, it's partly because I think of the people that, I mean, for example, like the prison worker situation, right? That was, I did not do anything to do that. Like that was just
You were
fate.
mature. You were mature. You were more mature than 99% of your sex. So there was little to nothing anybody could accuse you of doing
There was a
wrong.
particular time though.
You're
Yes,
responsible.
thanks. But no, there was a particular time. I think there was one person that had flogged me in Faith Academy SS3. It was Mr. Matthew. But like that one, I own up to it with my chest. Because like so again, it was the same situation that I just felt like the school was being unfair in a lot of ways. Like so, one of my friends, I'm not going to mention names, but I'll mention the patron because I'm actually very pissed. So like there's a particular day now, one guy in my set, like one of my guys in greenhouse, he was mopping corridor and he told nobody to pass. Like this is a Saturday morning, he was mopping corridor, he told nobody to pass the corridor. Then one just one student, like was now like he was there when he told you not to pass. You know that kind of thing that like let's imagine Deepo or like Opposite's mopping corridor. Like you wait now when it's dry, Opposite will tell you, or like they will tell you to pass and then you pass, especially when it's like Saturday morning when they're doing inspection. So you told him to wait. He was not the only joiner, the others. But that was not even the thing. He passed, he went to his dorm, it was still wet. That was not even what pissed me off. And then like the guy now said, because the senior was like he's skinny, he's slim. And then he was like, oh, is that senior, that skeleton Bonya senior? Jesus. Like when I heard that, I just lost my head. I lost everything because he said that skeleton Bonya senior. This is just one, just two student talking about SS3 students. Like exactly, that was my reaction. So me, I was waiting, and this is what actually provoked me because I was waiting for the patrons to actually react, as in correct this guy. But no, So my guy now was pissed. I mean, like he took measures into his own hands, and then he now like Mr. Matthew now called him and flogged him. Nah, I sparked too. That day, the entire hostel, I think, like the entire greenhouse was just looking because they're like, what the hell? Because I was parking at the man, I was just parking. Like, I was like, this makes no sense whatsoever. Like, you know what they did, you know what happened, and then this is the person you're like flogging. Me too, I chopped my own, but I was so like, if there's a thing, I felt so happy chopping, like, and chesting. It was that particular day. Because for me, the school had just turned upside down, whereby juniors like they did not
They
know how to.
eventually had some kind of power.
Yeah, like they no, for me
Period
it
when
was
it
just.
was how to punish anybody or scold anybody. There was a
Yeah,
time
and
like that.
but there was like for me it made no sense because it was not from a place of they're trying to understand situations anymore. It's like anything a senior does is wrong. Like as long as you have done the act, bam, you are the one at fault. You will chop beating. In my same set too, there was a particular guy in Red House that like I mean he was house captain, no house captain a prefect, like a very high prefect. He he punished a guy and then the patron in New Hostel asked the junior to slap him. Ah God. Like he asked like the Joe was like in just one or just two too, and he asked him to slap an SS3 student. So these are the kind of situations I'm like, almost Faith Academy, man. You get as a B sometimes with the way they handle some things.
Yeah, that times and seasons.
Serious times and seasons. You guys enjoyed the best times and seasons, Sha.
And it was as well.
Yeah. Your set also collects. I can't lie. Like I remember days whereby I mean I think it was more like will I say I don't know if it's emotional toil that they put on your chest, or like just absurd responsibilities, I would say, right? That they
So think of
expected you
times
guys.
when exactly. Think of times when the whole hostel had messed up, and then they will blame only the higher level sets. So
Yeah.
like there were times when like your room is dirty. They don't pay attention to juniors. You as a senior, you're the one to collect the beating. Imagine those days.
Hmm.
Times
No,
when the school messed up and then they really decide to blame SS3s. So things like that, we suffered it too. But well, not SS3, we're growing anyway. Maybe as at then SS1, SS2, Gen 3, like the whole school was a mess or something was off or something was wrong. And rather than actually hold everybody responsible, they just focus on the top or prefects only, something like that. So it was a lot though.
anyways, good luck to the people currently there because I don't even know what system they're using for it. Like Faith Academy actually changed so many times in terms of the
Yeah,
measuring stick was always changing, like what discipline meant was always changing, how they were governing like was always changing. I mean, it was a new school, I understand. But like for the people that had seen the full picture or that experienced everything, I just feel so bad for because even I said now, like I mean, they still did these things that I stated, but like we still had like a decent amount of control, decent amount of like
yeah.
authority. My sister, like Elizabeth says, was they fifth or sixth? Said she was telling me a certain stories. And I'm like, it's like just strip them of everything, even prefects, even prefects. It's
Wow.
sad. Okay. To just wrap up with just the Fifth Academy chapter. But
Yeah.
what would you say was like the biggest contribution though? Looking back now, what was like the biggest thing that you said like you really appreciate FA giving you, like Goshen?
Okay, I think it was discipline. Like it taught me a lot in that regard. Like, and the spiritual aspect of it, my foundation of spiritual growth is very much is the word. It's very much it was it was basically the foundation. I mean, my parents did a very good job, no doubt. Like my parents were sound, all of that. My parents did a very good job, and then I was under the right tutelage in terms of ministry, in terms of the church. So I also had the opportunity of learning under people like my mentors, Mr. Tosin, and then Mr. Dixon as well. But I was close to Mr. Tosin obviously because I was in choir. So these people actually inculcated like very stringent rules, and like they taught me how to do things right. It's either you're doing it right or you're not doing it at all. You understand? Like you have to be good at what you do. And they didn't just worry about your what they call it, your spiritual life. It was very much involved in our academic lives as well. So things like that. These were people who were very intentional about my growth. So they kind of gave me a foundation for discipline, there were certain things in my life I could never do because of the kind of instructions I received growing up and learning from them. So yeah, discipline, spiritual growth. I think in that regard, I cannot treat it, man. As much as there were a lot of roller coasters, up and downs, and stuff like that, these things cannot be traded for anything.
Yeah. Mr. Dixon and Mr. I don't think the spiritual stories of the spiritual foundation of Faith Academy can never be complete. I think that just that collabo, because I think they were like they complemented each other so well, and it was very interesting to see. Like they really complemented each other. Because Mr. Tosin was younger, he had like a way of doing things, and Mr. Dixon was just like a bit like older, and just where Mr. Tosin like was a bit extreme, Mr. Dixon balanced. Where Mr. Dixon was a bit extreme, Mr. Tosin balanced. It was a good combination.
Very, very good combination. Very good combination. They really balanced each other out.
They what?
So they really balanced each other out.
Yeah. You know that thing that you said whereby you were talking about Mr. Evans flogging you guys. Oh, if you feel this. We had that same thing with Mr. Tosin. He was our basic science teacher. Oh God.
Yeah, he did it was.
Oh, he did it with you guys too.
Times when he had to fit for our main basic science teacher. Not basic science. It was what was the one for higher level? That's SS.
Chemistry.
Chemistry. Thank you very much. So the set directly under us, the guys experienced him for a while because they did it from basic science all the way to chemistry. So he was one of the best teachers you could like. He was so good. Anything he wanted to do, he did it so well. I don't know how to explain it. Like he was excellent at everything he set out to do. He literally had that excellent spirit in quotes. He was such a good teacher. So it was expected that how can I teach you so well? And you want to fail. Because he made everything seem so easy and like easy to understand. I don't really know much of other people's opinions, but he was a really good teacher.
I mean, for me, it was actually the reason why I never even considered science classes in my life. So I mean, I think most likely, I did not know at that point, right? But I've just realized I'm the kind of person like curiosity teaches me. And like I need to be driven by the desire to learn a particular thing for me to properly understand it. I was lucky that in the art class I was actually just curious, so I did very well, like in SS classes. But like that whole flogging thing, because in junior school I did not click. I was still getting like top 10 in class, where I did not really click academically. I was just like passing class and I was doing this. And like the fact that you're now flogging me, why? Like my own grade, why are you flogging me? I know a lot of people that like that particular incident literally like drifted them away. I think Mr. T is actually like sometimes, depending on who you ask, he's a very polarizing figure, as in like in Faith Academy, because some people absolutely adore him, and then some people are like, guy, I don't want to be in the same room with that man. Me sometimes it depends what we're talking about. I'm on one or this. I'm on one or the other one.
Crazy part is when he went because at some point he had to travel for his masters and
or Roberts.
So when he came back and he kind of had like experience of what life was abroad. And then he came back and at some point he actually did like a very informal apology saying, and he's really sorry for how extreme he was at some instances managing. He actually said that thing to a couple of us that he was a little extreme at some instances, like managing certain things. And he really sorry for the way he did them. Do you understand? So he kind of realized eventually, I think exposure is a very good thing. He kind of realized that he went above and beyond on some things when he could have managed them at a very like just mid-level kind thing.
Well, I mean,
growth evidence as well. He's a lot better at handling people now. I mean, teenagers can be a handful, no lie. But like right now, he still has his foundation. I'm even on the board, so he still has the foundation, and like he's able to manage everything a lot better. He's not as extreme as it was then. Then maybe then it was more, everything was very, I mean, it was friendly, but everything was very fast paced. Oh, do this thing, do that thing, do this. But he's a lot more calm and handles things better now.
I mean, I'm sure, like I'm sure, like, you know, that has happened. And I think, like, as you said, like, exposure is so key.
Yeah, it is.
Well, another thing, perhaps, first of all, he's human, so he will make mistakes. That's valid. I think, like, at least for me, like, what sometimes makes me like very like, you know, on the other side of Mr. T is the fact that, like, he will I say, so for the times whereby we realized he was excessive and we're trying to, like, tell him, like, you know, calm down, especially like in school, like, he was just so focused on, like, a vision of a perfect teenager, a vision of things have to be right. Like, he was so obsessed with that I think, like, I don't think he was conscious of where, like, the steps he was taking to try and make people, like, the vision he was trying to, because I think it was clear to anybody. He had a vision. Like, he wanted you to be a good person. He wanted you to be an excellent person, right? But of course, like, some people are more good than others. And for the people that are not as good, right, it is harder to migrate them towards that vision you're looking for. And so the process you are using to get them there might actually influence, like, the outcomes and how they view you, etc. But, like, the last thing I would just say is that he was also very young. He was a very young teacher. Like, he was in his, like, mid-20s. So when I realized this, I'm just like, you know what? If I was a teacher then, like, in my own age, and I acted that way, I'll also ask, like, for people to, like, have mercy, you know, like, just consider that fact.
That's very valid. That's very, very valid. I mean, a lot of people expected that, oh, he just passed through this thing a little while ago. Why is he being all extreme? So I understand. I clearly understand what you're saying, man. Like, even me, I had days when, like, there was this day that for a couple of days I was so pissed with him because he did something that really, like imagine if somebody does something to you and Mr. Evans is even worried about you. He did something to me like that, like one very rash day. Mr. Evans beats people with mercy. Mr. Evans, he actually came to me one time and I was like, I'm sure you know what he was doing, was trying to correct. Like, Mr. Evans was all sweet to me and nice about. I mean, he is normally when he's friends with you, but he came to me trying to explain to me that this thing was not just hit or whatever, like, it was just him trying to correct. So it was a mistake I made. Mr. T had to take something somewhere and I took it somewhere else. And then he came to me while we were having a meeting. Like, the entire three were sitting with Mr. T and Mr. Evans. And then I took it from Mr. Evans and then called me out. And then he told me, would you run and go and correct him? So while you're confused as to what exactly you had done wrong, because I had no idea I had done something wrong yet. Then he said, run now and go and pick this thing from this place to get to that. And I was like, okay. I was now, like, trying to pick up pace and come back here. Before I could say anything, I received a very heavy slap, like this very life-changing slap. I was on the floor.
My
I
God.
actually went 360 the floor, and then I was like, I held it in my heart for so many days. I was like, first of all, I had to put my entire set because everybody was there, male, female, everybody was there.
What class were you in?
I think I was in SS2. That was just before the new hall, into the new hall.
Okay.
I think it was that we moved to that new hall, right? It was my SS3. You were in SS1 then, if I'm not mistaken. What was the new
auditorium? Yeah. I was in SS1.
Yes, I took something to library. Teachers were meeting in the library and took it to the new hall. That period, a lot of things were moving into the new hall in the, between the dining, that's when we have assembly and stuff, section to dining. So as I was saying, so
Yeah, yeah.
let's go back. So I just said, so I said, then we were in the dining area. Dining was really big. We had like assignments and stuff there before the building was completely built.
Yeah, yeah.
So he told me to move something to the teachers were having like a meeting at the library, like the library hall. So I went took the stuff to the new hall instead of the library hall. I'm moving a couple things to the new hall. Do you understand? So when
Yeah.
he said move this, take this thing to the hall, the only idea I had was take it to the new hall. Around that period, we're actually moving a couple things, like slowly moving things into the new hall. So when he told me to move it, I just did what he told me to do. Because obviously I wouldn't want to make a mistake like that intentionally.
Yeah.
And it was clearly misunderstanding. And then I got a very massive slap, like to the floor kind of slap. I literally fell into death because it was just after, I think, was it lunch or breakfast. So they were, you know how when you're done with the meal, you go and drop the plate in a big bowl. So I literally fell into a pile of like dirt around that area. That's how I was so embarrassed. So I was so pissed. It was so annoying, so bad that. Well, it's something we learn from every day. People have had those experiences, but that was the one that I never forget. Like that was not the first time I probably learned, but like that one was very significant for some reason.
Oh,
So
and you were
they were
chapel
extreme.
prefect.
I was chapel prefect. So
Oh
they were
my God.
extremes. They were extremes. So we learn every day. I mean, some of these things are mistakes, and it's human. I mean, I've also been there. I've also done something like that before. But this time around, it was someone who was just a loudmouth and a noisemaker. I remember one time it was in chapel, and then there was this person who was causing havoc in his side of the chapel. I think it was probably just for the and then did something very messed up. And then I told him to go and kneel down in the back of the chapel, which was not punishment for maybe causing nuisance. And then by the time I came, I saw him standing and playing at the back there. The slap I landed on his face, I can never forget it either. Like that was the first time I actually like publicly embarrassed somebody like that in chapel. I slapped him so loud that Mr. Dixon I was preaching on the altar actually knew something was up. He slapped his face. I remember that day. Like I was really pissed because people were like the chapel was noisy, it was very exhausting. I'm not excusing like my reason for the slap. Like, I'm just explaining what was going on. There was a lot of chaos going around, like sections, subsections of the chapel. And then I slapped this guy back. And then people like almost all the way front, like they knew that there was a slap.
And the FPH is big, just for context. Yeah.
So we're human at the end of the day, man. Like we're human, and all of this is just part of the learning curve. Like, some things I cannot try again. After that day, I even felt bad because I think I did it out of anger, like the fact that everybody else was like a lot of other little things were pissing me off. So I just transferred all of that aggression to one person's face. Regrets, but yeah, we learn every day.
Yeah. Omo. I think everybody has their own version of things that they don't wish to even remember. But like as you said, well, forgiveness is important. I mean, if you don't forgive last, then you go suffer, honestly, right? The person has moved on. It's you that will actually suffer. So just forgive, move on. Especially like when the person like understands their faults. I think people that do not understand, like that still claim rights, I be like they don't know what they did. That was a different case. But like somebody that understands,
the typical teenager will claim rights. The typical teenager is bound to claim rights. Like to you don't see exactly where you've gone wrong. And even if what you're actually wrong, you will still hold your shoulder up as if you were around. You want to make yourself feel bigger than the situation.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle pride thing.
Okay. I mean, I think this is a very good way to close the whole Faith Academy conversation. Maybe on a sad note, but
it gets exciting from here. So let's keep going.
Oh yeah. I mean, anyways, like I mean, for a lot of it, like everybody, if you went to Faith Academy, everybody has the same stance because you were once a junior, then you became a senior, so you had your own seasons.
Yeah.
But nice. So now let's talk about like just to close. So what are you doing now? Like in Abuja, like Abi from university, what did you study? Then what did you transition to in your career as at today?
I would have to go back a lot. So, but currently, I'm product manager. I'm product manager for a health tech here in Abuja. And then, so I started off. So I always wanted to be a pilot. As long as I can remember, for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a pilot. I then had to like transition at some point. So to most of it, like I picked a course. I picked electrical and electronics engineering a day before we went to JAM office to register for JAM.
Okay, that's for
That's
C.
what that's for CU. I
Yeah.
didn't have anything else. It was more of just I just wanted to do something, and then maybe when I'm done, because I mean the goal was flight school after degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did that to. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just figured, oh, maybe it was something I'll be able to navigate it up, and then I'll be
Yeah.
done. Even though
Mm-hmm.
that I was a 5 year. So I said, okay, no problem. I got into school. It was hell, man. It was hell. Jesus. That was probably one of the most difficult courses anyone can face. Electrical and electronics engineering was hell. Like everything was just one very, very extraordinary phase. Well, I don't have regrets because see it was inculcated in things in me and I had the experience. But then after my third year, it became really bad because I had a kind of like really sad phase in my just 300 level. My 300 level I had a really sad phase where I think money got really like tight at some point at home. So this is a story I don't like to talk much about. But first semester I resumed like this semester because of like fees. I had to pay like a portion of my fees, then like half of it about. Second semester, my dad had raised some, and then as sweet as my classmates were, then they actually raised a very significant amount as well. And then I was able to resume school, and that was 5 weeks into the semester. And then imagine a course like elect where you have like 2-3 courses as subjects where you're probably having formulas from the very beginning of the semester. And you've missed like you keep deriving all the way till the last week. Like it's a like AC
Yeah.
circuit conversation. But that's just one topic. AC was a very bulk. I don't want to go into all of that, but you will derive formulas like your life depends on it because it actually does. You probably have like 50
Yeah.
formulas to save up. Like when you get questions, you have to start deriving, and then you don't get to a particular level. And then, so it was a lot of step by step. So that first semester was really terrible for me. That was the first time I had 4 carryovers out of like 14 courses. I had 4 carryovers. I was so downtrodden. After that first semester, I gradually slipped into depression. And then the second semester came, same thing. I also failed a couple courses, and I was like, oh, I couldn't do this anymore. So, and then there wasn't really money as then, even if I wanted to resume going into 400 level. And then by the grace of God, I had just started speaking to my cousin. I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't live this life having to deal with this. Think about the next year with this carryover courses, and then the fact that I was struggling like emotionally, mentally. So I wasn't even sure of the next year yet because 400 level. So I just started speaking to my cousin even before I spoke to my parents. But they knew what was going on. My dad felt really bad a lot of time. My parents felt really terrible that they couldn't like do anything at that point in time. But it was a very sad time. And then I finalized all the details I needed for a school in. That was in Benin Republic. That was where I lived in a French country for 2 years. So I then told my parents that, oh, I can't continue like this. Like, I know money is tight and it's better I just pick an option where funds were, I mean, it was easier to manage funds. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it was easier to, I went to a school where I could pay school fees instrumentally, and then it was not as expensive as Covenant. So I just processed the
Yeah.
transfer after my dad eventually agreed. It was a half our first, but he eventually said yes because before then he said either Landmark or Covenant. Those were the only two options I had. Pick one or hold your peace. So I ended up just picking the Covenant then. And
Yeah.
then that was it. I had to leave then. It was a very sad transition again, having to leave one school. So to another school entirely, to a very fresh start. Yeah, so I moved there and then I did my computer science. They made me redo 300 level again, but then it was an American. I could do summer. So I did 2 summers and 2 semesters, 2 regular semesters. I was able to complete a whole 2 years curriculum in BA plus because there was 4 years to do computer science. So that was how I finished there. And then I got through immediately after that, I went for an internship, and that was where I started like properly.
Wow. First of all,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing. I'm sorry about like what happened.
Nah, it's all a growth process. So,
I'm sure it's
yeah,
like
so now
it's
I just
not
look
the
back on it and I'm like, it was for good actually.
and like kudos to you, man, because honestly, there are some kids, that like perhaps like understand their parents' position, right? And they don't care. They want what they want. And they
Yeah.
don't even care that like putting their parents into like unnecessary stress or like setting obligations that they will not prefer or they will not normally choose, but because this child is acting this way. So I like honestly a lot of like respect to you for like being situationally aware as at that point.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like a perhaps like a bad cycle because well these things happening at home then like it's affecting you in school then like the reason why it's affecting you in school is because it was just this cycle I guess. I was like
It
almost
was it was a terrible phase. Like my parents today, sometimes when they just remember everything, sometimes my mom like randomly, really stressed you. Like they actually still like random just drops also apologies about the whole transition because that phase was really terrible. Like it was so bad. Like we were like very down. It was so bad at that period. Everything was not how it used to be. So it was a terrible phase. Allowances were coming in late or not at all. It was just a whole phase, and I felt really bad for them as well because they were doing everything they could to get back on track. Or life happens, and then you realize most times that you're on your own because it's not like uh, it's not like he did not have the kind of people in terms of human resource that could come through. But sometimes you just realize that you're on your own. You understand?
yeah. Mm.
Stuff like that. So, but I'm glad that just as soon as I got into the new school, the man now got a very significant appointment. So it was a good transition because as soon as I now moved into this new school, everything now became like 100 times better. Like it was a very rapid shift from what it was to what it became. So it's all part of the growth process. Like I think on these things sometimes I'm like, like God actually came through a lot of times.
Thanks for sharing, man. I know like probably personal. But thank
Yeah,
you so
yeah.
much. I appreciate. So computer science, well, that's a transition. So I mean, when we started the conversation, you said you originally wanted to be a pilot.
hmm
Like, do you regret like not being a pilot now,
I still
or
want
do you
to be a
like
pilot. I mean, there's no age limit for that.
you still want to be a pilot?
But the only reason I haven't done it is because it's outrageous. It is pretty expensive. The most affordable program I have seen. So I think most affordable one I'd seen was like 50K USD.
Whoa,
So where do I want to,
Omo.
where do I want to get this kind of funds? And I'm not going to
Okay.
put anybody online for things like that. So I mean, the one person who had said, uh, finish school and come, let's talk about it. Just before I finished school, he passed away. So he kind
Hmm.
of shot the dream in the foot and left it lifeless to bleed out.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
I still believe I can get to it eventually, maybe. But for now, I'm focused on what I'm currently doing, which is product management. I've gained all the experience and growing with it. Yeah.
nice. I'm a data analyst. So, well, we don't really. I think like in the thought process, I think is very similar in the sense of like
Yeah.
how we look for problems, then find solutions.
We both
Because
work with data. Both
yeah,
have so decision making comes. My decision making comes with the data you produce.
yeah, like the
And so
reports. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the reports. So that's how it is. I have to work with data a lot as well, and it's because there's a product manager for data specifically. So we work together alongside my CPU. So all of that is still very much dependent on you as a data analyst. So basically, we're in similar line.
Same process, but I love it.
Yeah.
Like data is just something like it's just so exciting to me. The fact that like I can like it makes me understand reality much clearer. Like I can know
Mhm.
that oh, this is the amount of things happening here, or like this is the preference of people in this aspect, or like or anything. But just that fact that you have information that can allow you to understand, like bring about revelations and allow you to understand things much clearer. For me, it's like magic. Every single time, like like I transform raw data to insights and then reports. I'm like, wow.
Like
Like
if
I know
for
I did it, but I'm
example,
like, wow.
yeah, I know I did it, but like wow. That's a, and then for me now, it's like when I'm able to look at the data and then I'm like able to get the next best solution. And then when you implement a solution or strategy, it actually works. It is mind blowing. It is mind blowing. So it's just the excitement I get when to get things done. Like, okay, a new feature is launched, um, a strategy worked, and there's improvements on revenue, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we'll work together, like in terms of professionally.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyways,
I'm, I'm,
thank you.
I'm open to move to Spain if you're going to have me. You're going to plug me. You're going to plug me to product role. I will move. I will leave this country. I mean, it's not priority for me, but I mean, if I get a job of outside Nigeria, why not?
All right now. Now that
Yeah.
is known to me and to everybody that's listening, is recorded. Well, nice. Omo Isaac. Sorry, you vex Chidi. Thank you so much, honestly, like for your time. Thank you for like, like allowing me to see your story. A lot of things I never really on like know, but of course, like after this conversation, it just like brings a lot of perspective. And I'm sure like for people that are listening to this, they're like, wow, like from the story of like the Messiah born in the manger. All the way to product management now. Like I think, I mean, it's such a fascinating story. And I can't wait. Perhaps maybe like in 5, 10 years, we'll just have a part two. Maybe you are like flying planes. Who knows, right? And we'll just meet
Man,
at a transit section somewhere.
be your pilot. Who knows?
Hey, Aromado. If I hear that this is your pilot speaking, Isaac Aminu, eh?
I might be your pilot.
Who knows?
I still look forward to it, to be honest. I'm still looking at having used to probably bring it to life type thing. I'm just more focused on getting the job I currently have done. That's what I'm doing well.
Hmm. All right. Thanks to Isaac. Thanks for your time. And thanks for your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.